Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Here we go. Can you hear me now? Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear me now.
Can you hear me now? Oh, I can hear me now.
I don't know. Am I still live? There we go.
I don't know. Am I still live?
Oh, this one doesn't look too good.
I don't know. Am I still live? Oh, this one doesn't
That
look too
piece
good.
looks okay.
I
Maybe
don't
I
know.
could
Am I
just.
still live? Oh, this one doesn't look too good. I don't know. Am I still live? This one doesn't look too good.
Okay. Seems to be working now. I had to turn the volume off on my other phone. So I'm recording with one phone. Boy, a lot of bad spots on this one. I'm recording on one phone and I'm watching on the other phone so I can see if people come in. So what are your plans for today, Debbie Sue? Well, it looks like there's a lot of one big long bad spot, but I'll just keep cutting them off as I slice them. And that should be good enough. I've got about half a jar already just from those two pickles. I might be able to get 2 jars out of these. I made a cup and a half of brine. Oh, I'm glad. What's your dinner plans for today? Are you like me? And I never plan for dinner for a meal. I just decide what I want to eat depending on what I've got available. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm going to be using all of these for these pickles. I think I can just cut through this one without having to chop little pieces off. I hope you're not wiggling too much. I've got you on my table, and the stand that I've got you on is a little wobbly. I've got a can sitting on it so that it doesn't tip over, but it's still wobbling pretty much. Let's see if I can move this out of the light a little bit. I'm using an old ring light as a stand. See if that works. And you can see the shadow of the ring light on there. Look at this. Oh, fried potato sounds good. Cream peas. Oh, wow. I've never had cream peas. Do you just put milk in them, or do you like a cream sauce? I've got some canned peas. Do you have to use frozen peas or fresh peas for that? Are you a gardener? Pardon me, I know I'm subscribed to your channel, but I'm not 100% familiar with it. It's getting to be so that I'm watching more and more channels on playlists while I'm doing things. Well, we only have this one last cucumber, and there isn't much room left in this jar. So I think I'm going to cut about half of it. I'll save half of it to add to a salad later on or something. I wanted to show you, I got this crazy squash. I swear. Now I looked it up. I took a picture of it and looked on Google Lens, and it says that it's a straight neck yellow squash. But a straight neck yellow squash has a thin skin that's edible. This has a hard skin, and it looks a lot more like the coloring is similar to this little acorn squash that I got. So I'm wondering if an acorn squash and a yellow squash had a baby, if that's what it would look like. I can't wait to cut into it and see what it's like. I'm going to dice pieces of it up to add for soups. Then I'm going to cut this acorn squash in half, and I'm going to make something with lentils and stuff it. Frozen seems to be better. Do you make like a white sauce, or do you just put cream in it? Now, these are all ready for the brine. I've got the brine cooling off. I brought it to a boil. And I've got this jar. I'm thinking I got these 2 red onions, and I'm kind of thinking pickled red onions would be good, because then if I want to use them in a salad, I could still take some out and slice them up. If I'm going to use it like in a, oh, look at that, in a lentil salad or something. So first I'm going to cut it in half and then cut slices. And then before I put it in the jar, I'm going to separate all the slices. And I should have enough brine left over from the sweet refrigerator pickles that I make. Okay, that sounds good. I could do that. I can't have regular butter and I can't have real milk, but I have things that I could substitute for that. Actually, I'm just chopping. I'm not really making anything right. Well, I am going to make pickled onions with these onions. But for the most part, I got a bunch of vegetables between my grocery shopping, and I went to 2 food banks this week. It's the end of the month, and there's one I can only go to once a month, and I usually just go the last week of the month. And I ended up with quite a few vegetables, and I want to make good use of them. I can't eat them all, obviously. That's a really good idea. I wonder if you could cream in. Do you ever cream any other vegetables or just peas? I don't have any from the garden, but I do have some frozen peas in the refrigerator. So I'm going to fill this jar as full as I can with onion pieces, and then I'm going to chop up whatever's left over. And I think I'm going to save these bigger pieces for chopping. That's true. Corn is good cream. That's another thing I'm allergic to, though. Is that how you make cream corn, though? You make a sauce for it? I thought it was just like pureed or something. So these outer pieces I'll use, but then I've got all these little tiny pieces. Do you like to can? I don't actually can anything, but I do make refrigerator pickles, and that's what these onions are, just refrigerator pickled onions. And they're good to put on a sandwich or in a wrap or something. Well, it took about an onion and a half to fill this jar. I think if I push it down a little, I might get more in there. Yeah, I can probably get the rest of this one in there. And I'll chop some of these and freeze them. The smaller onion that I cut up already looked pretty bad. They were both about the same size when I got them. But the outer parts of one of them were really in bad shape that I had to toss them cut it off and toss it, but the inside was good enough. Oh yeah, I do that a lot of times, and then I cook it with onions. I used to use ham or Spam, but now I use some of the ham or Spam substitutes instead. So it's kind of like having scalloped potatoes and ham. I didn't know that. I always thought creamed corn was just partially pureed or something, but I used to eat it. I used to like it. Then I found out that it was causing me to have gout attacks. And one of the things I cut back on was corn to get rid of my gout attacks. Gout is no fun. What part of the country are you from? There, we got a full jar. I've got these pieces. They're small and thin, but I think if I slice them up and chop them and freeze them, and I can add them to my soup or salad frozen. Oh, Virginia, how nice. So you have an extended growing season, or do you end up getting too hot to grow in the summer? Like Texas. I know I chat with Gail from Gail Southern Living a lot, and it gets too hot in there. Everything dries up on her. Let's see, where am I going to put these onions when I'm done with them? I've got a little bag of red onions in the freezer. Maybe I can just add it to that. Oh, that's good. So when do you get to start put out your first crops in the summer? We have to wait usually for Memorial Day before we put anything out. Our last frost is mid-May, I found out, which I didn't know. But I still don't put things out usually until around Memorial Day. And things after Labor Day aren't much good, although some of these cold ones are. Oh, you're starting fires already? I don't usually turn my heat on. I live in an upper apartment, and so I live off of the heat of the people downstairs. But my electric bill is super high. Okay, so we're in zone 5B. You must be pretty close to us, zone-wise anyway. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm just got a lot of veggies here to chop. And people that I know really well, I do encourage people to connect to each other if they come into the chat. But these little bits are very small. But I think I can put them in a little container to freeze, and then I'll use them up fast enough. I do have some onions that I picked from outside too, but I left them outside. I'll have to go get them. Oh, that's great. Do you have like woods that you can gather your wood from, or do you have to buy it? I'm sorry, you're trying to do something and I keep asking you questions. I know the people across the hall moved out, and they have a wood stove that they can use on their first floor to heat the house. And one of the neighbors here cut down all the trees on their 3 lots. And he just put the wood out for people to take because he doesn't really have any use for it. I use some of the branches. Shepherd's hooks are kind of expensive, so I put one on my balcony. I had 3 at first, but that was kind of overkill. So this year I cut down to 1. I painted it black, and I use it to hang plants on. And I have more hooks that way than I would if I would have bought a shepherd's hook. So I saved some money and used up some paint that I needed to get rid of before it dried up. Oh, that's great. Off-Grid World, welcome in. Thanks for coming in. Have you connected with Debbie Sue yet? How you been feeling these days, Lori? I was watching a bunch of your videos this morning. I actually ran a playlist of survival seeds. And I was surprised when I went in there. I thought I had watched everything of yours, but when I went in there to make the playlist, there were no red lines under a bunch of videos. But then when I went in to comment on them, I had already commented on most of those. Oh no. I hope you get past all this really soon. This has been long enough. I have a friend who has been dealing with cancer for as long as I've known her, and she is not having as many issues as you have been lately. Now down here, I keep wondering. Now she says that she's a poster child for Keytruda. She's had more what do you call it, doses of it than most people have. Well, I've got a nice little pile here. I'm going to get myself a little container to put that in and freeze it. As long as I've known Debbie Sue, now that's only probably since January or February, since I started doing survival seeds, she has been going through a lot, really a lot. I hate to see that. She's such a sweet lady. She lives off grid. Her and her husband are, I don't know if you're familiar with her channel, but her and her husband are building a house off grid. And it's been so fun watching it go together as well as watching her garden grow. It fit. I'll pop that in the freezer and freeze it. I'll use it up fast enough though. So I've got 2 jars to add brine to, and I've got this one to pop into the freezer. So let's see, what should I get out next? I got all these stalks of celery left. Now I bought this a couple weeks ago, and at that time I still had pretty much left over, but it seemed like it was such a little bit, but I used it sparingly so I wouldn't use it up too fast. And as it turned out, I ran out. This morning I had to chop up a stalk of celery, and I realized this was starting to go bad. I had to cut way a lot off. You and me both. I don't know. I'm a cancer survivor myself. I had cancer about 18 years ago. And they caught it really early. And it's the funniest thing. I went into the doctor because I was having pain that didn't seem to want to go away. And they, one of the things they did was blood work, and my blood work showed cancer markers. So the first thing she did was an ultrasound of my uterus, and they found polyps. So they did a complete hysterectomy, and they found a tumor in my uterus that didn't show up on the, what do you call it? But she figured I was found so early. It was like 1A. They did a staging afterwards, and they didn't find cancer outside of my uterus. So I've been pretty lucky with it, actually. And I had to go in periodically for these body scans, and they found something in my lungs after 2 years after the hysterectomy. But that turned out to be sarcoidosis. They haven't found any cancer markers in my blood since then or anything. But one thing she told me to do, and this is when I changed my diet, was to eat a lot of leafy greens, of course, which I hate. And see, and I had endometrial cancer, and I had no idea that I had endometriosis. I thought that would stop people from being able to have a lot of babies. And I had 5 babies, and they were all accidents. Well, not accidents. They were all gifts. A gift is something you didn't know you wanted until you got it. But they weren't planned. And I must be really bad at using birth control because I had that big family. Hey, Katie, welcome in. How are you doing today? Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. People either can't get pregnant when they have it. So I was surprised when she asked me if I knew that I had endometriosis, and they found it in other parts of my body too. But I did, when it was that time of the month, I used to have some really bad cramping, and not as bad as some people who are really debilitated by it. But I seem to have a pretty high threshold of pain, so let's see. Got one stalk cut up there. got a lot of leaves here. I'm going to cut those up separately when I get a whole bunch of them. Oh no, my video went out. Or did I? Oh, there. I did. Oh no. Were you in a lot of pain, Katie? But you have kids too, don't you? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm wondering if, because I had my daughter when I was still a teenager, if that helped things along. I was in my 30s when I had the last one. Got a lot of celery here. I can't seem, I love to have celery in just about every dish I make. So about once a month, I buy a bunch of celery and I try to portion it out so that I'll just use little bits at a time. In fact, yesterday I made myself a lentil salad for lunch because I was going somewhere and I took it along. And I chopped up a half of a stick of celery, and then I took the other half of the stick and stuck it in a jar of dill pickles that's almost empty. And I should probably have boiled it, and I probably will end up boiling it when the pickles are gone and adding more vegetables to it. That's young, 16 though. That must have been hard taking care of them while all your friends were all having fun. That was, for me, the hardest part. I got married at 19. And I had my daughter a few months later. 3 months. She was due Christmas Day, but she was born on my brother's birthday. She was born on my brother's 30th birthday, and on her 30th birthday, no, on my niece's, his daughter's birthday, my daughter had her daughter. She's the one who has 6 kids. But they are a blessing no matter when they come. That's young, 42. I think I was 48 when I had mine. I don't know. I'm 74 now. And I had it before my middle son had any kids. And his oldest kid is, I think he just turned 18. Or did he just turn 17? You know, I got 10 grandkids. It's terrible. I'm just terrible with birthdays and dates. I will say they're growing up into some great people. They're growing into the kids, up into the kids that I didn't hang around with in high school, but now I wish I had. Do you have any grandkids, Glory? You must at this, well, maybe not. Is your son still at home with you? Another one of the things that they gave me yesterday was a bag of cuties. I'm supposedly allergic to citrus fruit, but what I did was I opened them all up, peeled them, and put the segments into freezer bags and froze them. So until they're gone, anytime I have a craving for something sweet, I'll go eat a segment. And I did have a segment this morning when I was waiting for my breakfast to cook. I like to have soup for breakfast, but I didn't have any beans ready. And I didn't have any rice ready. So I cooked some rice first, then I made my soup. So I always add beans and rice to my soup, and it's so filling. What time is it? It's 1:37. I'm still not hungry for lunch. I usually between 2 and 3 o'clock get hungry for lunch after eating a bowl of soup like that. And I'm probably going to have another bowl of soup. Or actually, no, I think what I'm going to do is cut this in half. It's an acorn squash that's turned ripe. And I'm going to make a little casserole with some of the celery and some of the beans and rice that I have in the refrigerator. And after I nuke that till it's soft, I'm going to put the casserole in there and nuke it a few more minutes. Got a lot of fresh tomatoes I can add. What else could I put in there? Some of those red onions that I chopped up. But I'll have half of that for lunch and half of that for dinner. And that's one thing about being vegan and eating beans and rice. I stay full longer. If I have meat, it doesn't have as much, I don't know, what do you call roughage? It's not as dense. I get hungry faster if I eat meat. And now since I gave up sugar, I'm not having a lot of the junk food cravings that I used to have. Used to be that if I ate sugar, a little bit of sugar, I wanted more. It was kind of like an addiction. And I found that it also helps with salty foods too. I haven't been craving popcorn and potato chips as much as I did before I gave up sugar, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. I made crackers and I've only eaten about half of them, and they're starting to go bad on me. They have a little bit of a funky smell, so I don't know. I can probably stick them in my compost because it's all vegetables. All it is beans, rice, and a little bit of salt and some water that I pureed, and then I bake it until it's crispy. I probably should have frozen some of them. In fact, if I make another batch, I'm going to do that because I'm not craving the salty, crunchy stuff like I was. Got a couple things to edit. I decided to start doing shout outs for different channels. I should have been doing that all along. Well, it looks like all the talkative people have left. Or maybe I got on too much of a sad subject. What was I thinking? It's supposed to be a happy time. I see there's still a few of you there. Getting to the end of the celery. I've got, is that 2 stalks or 3? I think there's one on top of one or the other. I was lucky this week that I got so many vegetables and I got those cuties. I don't see fruit very often. Sometimes I'll see canned fruit in heavy syrup and I end up having to give that away because I don't want to have any sugar. I decided to try making my own ketchup because most of it has sugar in, but I might use honey in it. If it doesn't taste sweet enough, I'll add the honey afterwards. I just used up the last of my ketchup and scrubbed out the bottle so I can make some more. My knife is fairly dull. I've had a few sharp knives, but I always manage to stab myself or do something with a sharp knife that a dull knife won't do. I prefer a dull knife. Or at least dull enough that I can't really do damage to myself. Those onions smell so good. Did anybody else ever make pickled onions? Or does anybody else make refrigerator pickles? One time I made some hot pickled celery. I put a lot of cayenne pepper into my regular brine. And that was really good on sandwiches and veggie burgers. There is the reason I got the idea for it is there's a burger place kind of nearby, not too far away. It's 2 buses away. And you can buy hot pickled celery to put on your burger. And that's where I got hooked on it. Of course, now I don't eat beef burgers. So I thought I would make some for my veggie burgers, and that was so good. But it was good in salads too. I should try and make that maybe next time. This time I've been cutting up one stalk at a time for a couple of days. But like I said, when I made my soup this morning, I noticed that some of the celery was going bad, and if I didn't get it chopped, I was going to lose it all. Celery is one thing I love to have, but I only buy a bunch about once a month, and I try to spread it out so I don't use it all. Last month, I guess I was being so frugal that I didn't use enough. Because I ordered this the beginning of the month. So I've still got all these carrots once I finish the celery. And then I've got those 2 squash, and I'm really curious to see what's going to be inside that one squash. Because it looks to me like it's a cross between an acorn squash and a yellow straight neck squash. When I looked it up, or when I took a picture of it and I did Google Lens it, it said it was a straight squash. But this has such a thick skin. And they say that you can eat the skin on a straight neck squash. But look at how thick that skin is. That's a really tough skin. So I don't think that is a yellow straight neck squash. And then it has these grooves. I don't know if you can see them in here in the image, but it has these grooves kind of like my acorn squash does. And they didn't say anything about a straight neck squash having that. Is there anybody here that ever grew a straight neck squash? Do you know what? Do they have those grooves on it like that? Because it didn't appear to in the pictures that I saw, but it's hard to see on camera. So my plan is to cut that up to add to my soups or salads too. I have a little plastic shoebox in my freezer, and I like to keep that filled with bags of veggies that are chopped up, and I can just add a little bit of this and a little bit of that when I make something. I usually only make a single serving at a time. I don't like making big pots of soup anymore. Then it seems like I'm eating the same soup over and over every day. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of chat here. It isn't scrolling. Oh, hi, Jeffrey, welcome in. You've never grown one? You made refrigerator pickles a couple times. Do you use sugar in yours? Now, I made red pickled cabbage once, and it seems like that's the only brine I ever make. I noticed I was watching Mimi's Abundant Life, and she made some pickles, and I really was craving pickles after seeing that. I must have been hungry when I watched it. But I couldn't find her recipe for the longest time, and once I did, it didn't have sugar in it. She had a different recipe. And I tried using that brine, and it was pretty good. It was really salty. Well, thank you for staying in the chat, Lori. That's terrible. You're not feeling well and you're having to do all that work. But it's amazing that you can still do it. And I'll tell you, that's one thing that I've learned is how much staying active can do for your health. I read a book. I must have been about 63 or 64 because it was at least a year before I retired. And it's called Younger Next Year by Carole. Now, that book was actually geared towards men, which I didn't realize until recently. And he has written another book geared more towards women, but it talks about the effects exercise has on your body. And one thing that I didn't know was that every 3 months, your body replaces every cell. And if you are active, each cell will be replaced with a good, healthy cell. And if you're not, it can be replaced with a cancer cell, a fat cell, or an arthritis cell. So this guy that wrote the book actually had arthritis so bad that he couldn't lift his leg to step up on a curb. He always had to walk up the slanty thing when he started the book. But he ended up, let's see, I'm going to put this in here. Do I need to put the date on here? I guess not, because I can't see a pen. Oh, wait, there might be one here. Nope. Let's see. Oh, here's a pen or a Sharpie. Let's see, what is today? The 26th? I've got a bunch of seeds here. I think I'm going to do another live while I take those out. They've been fermenting them all week. So today is what? 9/27, I think. Let's check the phone. I'm right. I've been right twice in my life. Okay. So I put the celery in here for the freezing. I don't know why my chat is not scrolling. I'm having to keep moving it down. I'm sorry I'm not replying to your messages as fast. Oh, now I moved it too fast. I ended up going into the next video, the next live. See if I can do this without spilling too much. Well, I guess not. Now I can use this to put my carrots in because I'm going to chop those up next. I got a 5-pound bag of chopped cabbage from the food bank. So that's taking up most of my freezer space. Oh, thank you everybody who clicked the like button. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. I do find that by doing these lives, it increases my watch hours. Each time I do one like this, it increases my watch hours 5 days later, and up to as many as 10, usually between 7 and 10. Oh, it's a nice size bag. This should last me for a good month. I did find out that the Checkers up the street. Okay, Debbie, well, thanks for stopping in. I'm losing my voice here. I should probably shut up. And thanks for giving me the date. So we'll squeeze as much air out of this as we can. So we got a bag of celery for the freezer. And now let's get this carrots going. Or maybe I should do this funny looking squash. I think I'm gonna, yeah, these. Yeah, these are freezer bags though, and I haven't found any freezer bags with the slide lock. But I do have some that aren't freezer bags that are like that. I like those better. Especially since I reuse the freezer bags so many times. See, this is a really thick skin, kind of like the acorn squash. I wonder what it's going to end up tasting like inside. I think I'm going to try and save and ferment some of the seeds that are in here. Let's see if I've got a jar here I've got this empty spaghetti sauce jar. Here we go. If I have any seeds, they're going in that jar. So I wonder what you'd call it if it's a cross between a straight squash and an acorn squash. Would it be a straight acorn squash? Hey, Journey Mirror, welcome in. U-Haul, welcome in. I wish I could use just a little bit of sugar, but you know, if I have a little bit of sugar, I want to have more. But I did put sugar in these dill pickles, or not dill, they aren't dill, I don't have any dill. They're just a sweet pickle. I'm finding that I really don't do well with sugar at all. My doctor says that I would never be diabetic. She took my blood sugar recently when I was in for my UTI, and she didn't feel I would ever be diabetic. My blood sugar just wasn't that high. Although I was gestational diabetic when I had my sons, which might be the reason they were so big. The smallest of my sons weighed 9 pounds, 5 ounces. And the biggest one was 11 pounds, 9 ounces. Now, one of my sons is 6'11" and wears a size 17 triple E shoe, which was fun buying him shoes when he was a teenager. Okay, well, I'm curious. How does it taste? It's a really hard squash. Doesn't have much flavor. It's not real sweet like an acorn squash. Just kind of bland. Doesn't taste like a zucchini or anything. But it'll add a lot of fiber to my soup. I like to have a lot of veggies, at least a cup of veggies in my bowl of soup for breakfast. So this should fill me up, which is probably why I stay full so long. Yeah, I'm not craving any snacks or anything. And I'm definitely not ready for lunch, and it's 2:01. Well, thank you, Journey. Journey Mirror. It's hard for me to read that. I like that it's in cursive, though. That's kind of cool. I am old enough to know how to read cursive. I'm just too old to see. My mother went blind when she was about my age, but she could still see well enough to read large print books. She was blind, completely blind in her left eye, but she could still see out of her right eye. Oh no, it looks like everybody's deserted me. Maybe I need to slide that. Nope. There's no other chat. Well, have a happy journey yourself. I do plan to stay home for a couple of days. Now on Tuesday, which is the 30th, they're going to be opening the Checkers up the street. Has anybody ever been near a Checkers when they opened? I'm wondering, some of the restaurants around here have had a freebie day. I don't know if it was the day before they were planning to open or what it is. So I'm kind of hoping they'll have freebies because that's all I'm going to be able to afford by then. Well, let's see. Keep slicing until I find seeds, and I'm going to slice this in half. There, we've got some big seeds there. Hoping I can get some good fat ones to grow. Not that I can really grow squash out in my balcony, but that one's kind of thin. I think we'll put that in the garbage pile here. Should have a nice container for my compost when I'm done here. I'm going to need a spoon. Now this one feels nice and fat. I'm going to ferment that one. So we'll be able to get a couple out of there, but I need a spoon to clean that out. I'll be back. Oh, these are pretty thin. They're going in the garbage. Not the garbage, the compost. The seeds are more like a acorn squash seed. They're too thick to eat. or zucchini seeds would be small and thin. These are kind of thin, but they look too difficult for me to eat. Great. I'll chop those up for soup. And I'm going to put all the fat ones in this here spaghetti sauce jar to ferment. I think I'm just going to slide them all in there because if they're too thin, they'll just float to the top and I can pour those off before I rinse what's left. I like to use distilled water for fermenting my seeds. Oh, that one's soft. It's going right straight in the bin. But this is a nice fat one. That'll probably grow into a plant. So I plan to do some seed giveaways. Not sure when. It might end up being during the live. One of these days. I need to start learning to use the comment picker on StreamYard because, you know, Gail's collab is coming up here. On Monday, my video will come out for my entry video, so be sure to watch that and leave a comment because you have a chance to win some pretty good prizes there. Now that at this point, she's got 35 people who say they're going to join, and as a rule, she ends up getting more. Once the collab starts, everybody sees those entry videos and they want to join in too. And to me, this looks like the biggest giveaway. I mean, you could win a prize from each collaborator. And if you win the grand prize, you do win a prize from each collaborator. That one's fat. I want to get that in there. And it looks like a lot of people are giving gift cards. I haven't decided what I'm giving. I'm not going to do gift cards. I had a problem with one that I won on one of those sites. You know those ones where you play games and they say you win gift cards? And I know somebody else that uses that site and they get gift cards all the time. But my gift card, when I clicked on the link to get it, the very first time, that gift card was gone. And I've heard of people on YouTube that lost some pretty big gift cards. Now that one's fat. The other one was really skinny and flat, so I'm not going to sit here and pick through. I'm just going to try and get them away from the flesh and put them in the jar. The flat ones will float and I'll be able to get those out. You too? Have you ever done Oh, hi, Mimi. Have you ever done the, oh no, my phone just went dead. I have to go get another phone. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm trying to get logged in on this other phone. What I do is use one phone for recording, and I can't really see the chat on that. And then I use another phone. I think I need to walk in the other room and put the other one. So I'm back in another channel, but I still can't see the chat. Let's make that, no, that didn't work. Have you ever taken part in Indiana Gardeners seed swap? Because I got so many seeds, I'll never be able to use them all. But I told her that I was interested in growing kale that year. And do you know, she sent me 9 different varieties of kale. And one of them had leaves that grow to be 6 feet tall. Now, I keep trying to grow one of those since I got that, and so far I haven't been lucky enough to do that. I figured I could give it to my daughter or my son, and they could grow it in their huge yard. I think I got all, there's a couple seeds left in here, but they're really flat. They aren't going to grow into anything. It seems like the fatter seeds are a different color too. If I get all the seeds out and put them in a pile, I should be able to pick through and figure out which is going to be fat and which isn't. But the fatter ones seem to have a more grayish look to them. Like you see these, the real white ones you can barely see, but these are a little more gray. These are fat enough to probably grow into something. So I may end up sending those in when I do the Indiana Backyard Gardener collab. The only thing I'm looking for is I'd like to grow okra, but I'm not sure if I can here in Wisconsin. I think that's a warm weather crop. But I really like okra. I got a bag of frozen okra once from a food bank, and I've been buying it ever since. Well, actually not in the summer because I get enough other vegetables, but in the winter I plan to buy another bag of it. And a bag will last me a month or two. I think they were only like $1 or $2 from Walmart. My hands are all icky, but I'm going to try and scroll. Yeah, I'm missing a. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, I used to do that kind of thing when I worked. Every time I would learn something new on the computer, I'd make a little video similar to that. I don't know why I didn't think of that as my YouTube subject. But that seemed to go over pretty good. I do have a couple more set up. Gail from Gail Southern Living is my mentor. She's been showing me a lot of new things on the computer to try to get more people, like going to Tuber Chat and joining collabs like Survival Seeds. And she's been really helpful. And but I have enough subscribers to be monetized, but I have less than 1,000 watch hours. I don't know how many I have. I didn't check this morning, but I think I had about between 700 and 750 yesterday. But she told me to do lives, and that's how she managed to monetize Broken Hearts Ministries so fast, because she did lives on there from the beginning. So by the time she had enough subscribers to monetize, she almost had enough watch hours too. I think I got all the viable seeds out of here. Now I could just plop all of these into my jar of water, but none of those are good, so they're going in the compost. I am loving all of your videos, Lori. I just love your channel. I like watching the house. It's exciting seeing it going from where you're living in a camper to now you just moved upstairs recently. That's really kind of neat. I always wanted to really fix up a house. My husband never had that same dream though. It got into the way of his guitar playing, which was one of the reasons I married him, because I never wanted to get married, but I figured being married to somebody who played guitar would mean that I would be in a band for the rest of my life. That's really all I wanted to do. I didn't want to get married and I have floors to scrub and all that kind of stuff. Oh. Sounds like my son's waking up. I'm probably going to have to cut it off pretty soon. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, I started my channel a year ago, but I didn't post anything until I started it a year ago in July. And about the end of November, I posted my first video. So my watch hours still keep going up. But starting November, I'll start losing them. But I only posted that one, and then I didn't post again until around Christmas time. So I don't think I'll be losing a lot. I didn't really start posting a lot until about February. So I probably should be doing a live every day. But life keeps getting in the way. And I don't think any of these here seeds are going to be viable. They're just too flat. So these are going into the compost. And another thing about not putting viable seeds in there is last year I grew a bunch of squash, and I have no idea what it was, if it was cucumbers or squash or what. It was seeds that were in something that I tossed in my recycle bin. And I let them grow, but by frost, by the time it was ready for frost, I still hadn't gotten anything other than a few blossoms that died off. But I kept the lid off my compost bin all summer for that reason. Okay. Now this part's really thin. No, they don't go to zero. You start to lose them because it's only the watch hours that you get within a year. So I hadn't gotten any watch hours up until the end of November when I first posted my first video, which barely anybody watched. I showed how to make Burmese tofu. And the funny thing is, I wanted to do something different with this channel. I had another channel called The Reluctant Bee Granny, and I was just posting vegan food on there. Well, that cuts out about half the people that might watch because most people aren't vegan. And I ended up getting locked out of that channel for several reasons. And once they realized I wasn't at fault, they did let me back in, but it took me 9 months to convince them I hadn't done what they said I did wrong. Somebody had done something. Anyway, I can use it now, but I use it to watch other channels. I find other channels on sites like Tuber Chat or The Source, and they watch my videos and I watch theirs and we comment on each other's. And I'll tell you, I found a lot of videos on channels I didn't think I would be interested in that I really love. And there's one lady in Australia that I watched, Exploradora. I didn't think I'd like her channel, but she's such a sweet lady. I love chatting with her on her lives. And right now she's doing the 75 soft, 75 hard. So she's always done walks on the beach in the morning. And since she's in Australia, it's like the middle of the afternoon when she comes on and shows the sun coming up in Australia. Betty's World, hi. Welcome in. Yeah, be sure and connect with people while you're in here. At the end of the live, I go through the chat and I make people that I know really well into a managing moderator so they can go directly to your channel. Because I know what a pain it can be trying to type in the name of the channel and then you end up getting there and there's 10 people with the same name trying to figure out which one is which, or else just not even finding it. Because some people don't have the same name on their handle as they do their channel, and it makes it hard to find them in chats like Tuber Chat or, oh, what time is it? It's almost 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I want to go into the Source. It's the Source 479, but he has a live, and he encourages people to connect to each other, but he makes everyone that comes in a managing moderator, which can be dangerous because a managing moderator can kick me out of my own live. But if you see some of these channels are blue, they've been in my live chats before, and I made them into managing moderators. So when they come back, they can just click on the link for your channel and go right to your page and subscribe to your channel. Now, Tuber Chat, when you go into Tuber Chat, he asks people to go listen to a 3-minute video on another channel and subscribe. But what I do is I subscribe and then I save a video that's at least 3 minutes long to my playlist, and then I play it. And after I played it, I comment on it. And we can connect that way. But with some of the other ones, like there's another one called Blessing Through Connection. That's put out by the same lady that does Blessed to Crochet. Where are you going? Oh, okay. Do you need the kitchen? Anyway, it's put out by the same lady that does Blessed to Crochet, and she makes everybody into a managing moderator too. And you can connect with other channels through her lives. And connecting with other channels like that is a great way to grow your channel. I started doing this about May, and I went from 100 subscribers to almost 800 at this point. And it's really helped my watch hours because we watch each other's playlists. Apple? Oh no, this is some kind of squash. I think I was saying that I think it might be a squash. A cross between a butternut squash and a yellow squash. When I took a picture of it, Google Lens said that it was a straight neck squash. But I looked up the straight neck squash, and it's supposed to have a real thin skin that you can eat. And this had a really hard skin, like an acorn squash. It has absolutely no flavor. It'll be good in soup because it'll be adding it to other things that do have flavor, and it'll add some fiber to my soup. But I got a bunch of vegetables between grocery shopping and two of the food banks. I went to 2 food banks this week, and they both had some fresh vegetables for me. So one of the things I got yesterday was a 3-pound bag of cuties, and I peeled them all, and I sectioned them and put them in freezer bags in the freezer. Now, when I've had cuties in the past, I always just grab that instead of grabbing something sweet. I'm trying to give up sugar for 75 days. I'm kind of being inspired by Exploradora, who's doing 75 hard. Now, with 75 hard, you're supposed to do 2 45-minute sessions of exercise. One of them's supposed to be outside, and they need to be at least 3 hours apart. So like if you go for a 3-hour hike, you only count that as one of your sessions of exercise. And you're supposed to drink a whole gallon, which I drink almost a whole gallon. They're very strict that if you mess up once, you have to start over from day one. And you're supposed to take a picture of yourself every day, which I really don't have room on my camera for that. I'm keep making videos for my YouTube channel and having to make sure I get them edited and uploaded so I can get them off of my camera. Not my camera, my phone. That's the end of that one. Today is 9/27, so I'm going to put the date on the bag. This part will actually wash off so I can reuse the bag. But I'll freeze that in here, and the next time I make some soup, I can add some to my cup. I always put a measuring cup out and measure a cup of my diced vegetables from the freezer. And then I put a half a cup of beans and a half a cup of rice. And it depends on how much water I want to add. Yeah, I go back and spend time another day. because I like to stay in the live and keep connecting with more people. Although now that I've been doing tuber chats so much, it's very rare that somebody comes in that I'm not already connected to. So we've got all these seeds. I don't know if you can see them. Where's my camera here? So I'm going to add some distilled water to that. Now I'll be back. I'm going to add the brine to these pickles and these onions. I'm going to use the same brine. It should be cool enough that it won't break the jar. So I'm going to use this top. I filled up the pickle, the cucumbers, but the onions I was only half full, so I'm making more brine. Not good to Betty's World, not good to jump from channel to channel. If you can watch 5, do that. Slendo sometime. Oh, spend some time so it counts. Yeah, I do go back and spend time. And if you add to a playlist by using the 3 dots on the right, you don't go in and mess things up. Because if you go into a video, it's best to watch it to the end. Because otherwise, the YouTube algorithm thinks you don't like it and it puts it in a bad place. So it's almost 3 o'clock, so I'm going to put it there. But I put a piece of tape on here as a label so that I know that in 24 hours I can eat those. It should be done enough. And I'll chop some up and add them to salads. Or I like to make lentil salads. I put some lentils and rice in a bowl and add some pickles. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I suppose. Well, I really thank you for watching my channel then. I didn't realize you were limited on time. I have 3 phones and I have them running most of the time. I'll usually, this phone that I'm using right now, I was running a playlist on in the other room, but I had it on the charger, so it was at 100%. In fact, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to take this phone that went dead and put it on a charger in case this other one goes dead before I'm done chopping everything. I still have this acorn squash, but I'm just going to cut it in half. And then I've got a 2-pound bag of carrots here that I peel. I'm back. And so now I've got all these carrots I have peeled. Oh, that last bite that I ate tasted a little cabbagey. But the first bite that I had didn't have much flavor at all. This one kind of tastes like a kohlrabi. Maybe it's a cross between a kohlrabi and a squash. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I saved those seeds, and the seeds are much more like seeds from an acorn squash than they are from a yellow squash. So I'm still thinking its mama might have been a acorn squash, and its daddy was probably a yellow squash, or vice versa. Yeah, they were kind of white actually, but I do try to eat more foods that are rich in color. Last Sunday, somebody posted on Buy Nothing that they were at a farmer's market selling, and they had a lot of leftovers, and if we came to their house in an hour, we could have some of these extras. And she had a lot of tomatoes. I took home a lot of tomatoes, but I don't drive, and I just had my grocery cart, and my dog has to fit in that grocery cart too when we're on the bus. But I managed to grab a lot of food and process that last week. Still got a lot of it in the freezer. And one of the things I still have in the freezer is red peppers. I must have got about 10 of those that I chopped up. They are starting to get low though. And 3 of the tomatoes did go bad before I was able to eat them. Yeah, it was really nice. People were taking boxes and boxes of those tomatoes. They figured they would go home and can them. Most of the tomatoes were like beefsteak tomatoes, and I was thinking a tomato sandwich. But I never did get my tomato sandwich. Figured that last one was going to be my tomato sandwich, and it went bad before I could eat it. And then there were 2 of the smaller tomatoes that went bad. But I was eating whole tomatoes at a time. I'd eat a whole tomato and a burrito for each. But they also had a lot of avocados. I'm working on a video actually. I do have a lot of pictures that I took of that day that I want to make into a video. And The avocados, I cut them open when I got home, and they were already really bad, which I kind of figured they were soft already, but you know, that makes nice compost. And then I figured I would grow some avocados from the seeds, which I did last year, and then I gave them away on Buy Nothing once they got going. But it was fun to make a video with them while I had them. So hopefully somebody's going to be getting some avocados from those trees pretty soon. They make really beautiful house plants, even if they never do produce. If you got a sunny window or something to put them in. So once I'm done here with my carrots, I'm still not hungry, but I'm thinking I might make a casserole to put in that acorn squash and make like a stuffed squash kind of thing. I figure each half of the acorn is going to be my at least a cup of vegetables, but I might put a little bit of celery and onions in it for flavor, and then make some kind of veggie gravy or something to hold it all together. And these carrots, I'm going to be blanching before I eat them. An apple would be good. I was hoping I would get apples because that food bank I went to yesterday, I've often gotten apples this time of year from. That one is held once a week, but you can only go once a month, and they do keep a record. Now, last month when I went, the lady said that I had been there the week before, and she remembered my dog. Well, there's another lady that goes that has a dog that looks just like her, and I've seen her before. And I know I only go the last time that they do it of each month, and only if I needed anything. But one thing that they've been giving me a lot of lately is meat. I got a huge pork roast that I gave away, and a huge package of chicken legs that I gave away, a bag of corn. And I like to find people in line that have big families because it's just meat, and I don't eat meat. I sometimes make dog food out of ground beef or something, but they gave me way too much meat. And the person I gave it to has a bunch of kids, so they were happy to take it. Oh, and they gave me ice cream bars. I'm allergic to milk, so. And yogurt. There's a lot of things I couldn't eat, and a lot of other things that I wouldn't eat. But I got plenty anyway. Yeah, I got those oranges, not oranges, cuties, a bag of cuties. And they were all good too. I opened them all up and sectioned them out and put them in the freezer, so they'll stay good till I eat them. What else? Oh, I got bagels. Now, I'm not supposed to be eating wheat, but I did have a bagel with my soup this morning. And like I said, I'm still full. I'm not really hungry enough to eat. But sometimes it just gets to be mealtime and I need to make a meal. So I'm going to make that stuffed squash. Yeah, I wonder, Lori, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the all the comments on survival seeds. And I went through as many of the channels as I could on survival seeds and made a playlist of 191 videos that I missed. But then once I got into them, I went to comment. I found that I had commented and liked them. And before it gets dark, I want to make a video and post it right away of my horrible looking garden for the survival seeds video. Because tomorrow's their big giveaway. Make sure you save some data so you can watch that. Because you seem to win about every week. I've won one thing so far from them. I won a trowel. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Last week, I won a pair of gloves. But I have a pair of gloves that I never used. So I passed those on to Gail. She's got a big garden. She'll probably use them. She has to deal with more blood pressure than I do. Or she can always add them to a giveaway. Wow, it's getting warm in this house, and I know today's supposed to be the hottest day of the week. Should probably turn the air on once I'm done with these carrots. That's about half of them that I'm done with. And since I have so much of that cabbage in there, I'm having, oh, you know what? I hear my brine boiling. I'm gonna go. Well, I put my jar of pickles in the refrigerator, and I almost forgot about this. This came from the food bank yesterday too. I don't like raw broccoli, but I think if I chop those up, I can add those to some soup. Or maybe even the casserole that I'm planning to make. To put into my stuffed acorn squash there. I just love these carrots. So Betty's World, do you have a garden? Oh, it's getting warm in here. I'm going to go turn the air conditioner on. I'll be right back. Those tomatoes are really soft in there. I better eat those. Those tomatoes are really sweet. Probably because they're so overripe. I'm going to have those with my little casserole because those have to be eaten today. So I'm going to put these carrots in a bowl and microwave them on high for 3 minutes so that they're a little blanched. Because I find when I make my soup, if I don't blanch them, my carrots are still on the raw side when I eat my soup. And I like them to be a little more cooked and sweeter. Well, I might as well stop talking for a while because I'm talking to myself. I'm the only one here. There's only one person in, that would be me on my other phone. A 2-pound bag of carrots generally lasts me for a month. I'm going to save my voice. Hello, whoever's lurking there. How's your day going? So we have Betty's World in, Off-Grid World, and they both had to leave. I'm assuming because I was down to one, and that would be me. But now we've got somebody else in the chat. But they're being shy, so whoever's being shy, say hi. We got 5 carrots left in the container. I'm gonna have to get a sharper knife to cut that acorn squash. This knife is sure not gonna do it. It's barely cutting up my carrots. Got some dark discoloring there, which probably isn't going to hurt anything, but these are going to get blanched and thrown in the freezer. And I'm hoping to eat them all month, and if they go bad on me, I won't be able to. Only one of the carrots that I have left is really that big. These are really small. It's funny how these dark spots appeared after I peeled them, like before I started this, so well over an hour ago. Well, it's 3 o'clock. There's not many people in here. I'm going to end it, and I'm going to go over to watch what is it? The live from Hawaii. Who is he? The Source. The Source 479. If you're interested in going there, it's a good place to connect to other channels. But I'm going to do this. I'm taking screenshots right now of the chat so that I can check in with everybody that's been in here all today. Then I need to make a couple of these channels into managing moderators because they're channels that I'm familiar with. And the ones that I'm not familiar with, I need to get familiar with. So I'll go watch their stuff. Oh, the 5Gs was here, and well, Fairy Bread Army. I missed a bunch of people in here. Now, there are ways that you can watch after the live is over, but I haven't figured that out yet.